All right, so we're just going to do one more example with a right triangle and an angle that we know. All right, so I'm going to draw a triangle with a right angle up here. And a 60-degree angle here. And this side's going to be a 10. And then I'm going to label this side A and this side C. And your book has a convention of naming an angle across from a side length with the corresponding capital letter. So because this angle down in the left-hand corner is across from side little a, we're going to name that capital A. And they want us to solve the triangle. Which means to find all of the unknown side lengths and angles. All right, so the easiest thing for me to solve is that third angle, that 30-degree angle that has to be here in the corner. This has to be 30 degrees because we want those angles to add up to 180 degrees. All right, so 180 minus the 90 and the 60 leaves me with 30. So this is another 30, 60, 90 triangle, but it's not the one that we drew in class because the one that we drew in class had the side opposite 30 to be a side length of 1, and that's not going to be the case with this 10 side length across from the 60. Okay, so I'm going to remind myself of the triangle that we drew in class. Okay, we had 60, 30 in my right angle, and then I said, let's make this opposite of 31. The hypotenuse was 2, and then we found that square root of 3. Okay, so let's see. So for example, we knew a lot about sine, cosine, and tangent of 30 and 60. So like I knew that the sine of 60 from this triangle over here, sine, if I remember my SOHCAHTOA, sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So I know that sine of 60 opposite over hypotenuse is the square root of 3 over 2. Now over in my triangle that they gave me, if I do the same kind of thing, sine of 60 is adjacent over, opposite over hypotenuse. Sine of 60 is opposite, which is 10, over hypotenuse, which is C. Okay, but the sine of 60 has to be the same number in every triangle on the planet. So if the sine of 60 over here on the right is the square root of 3 over 2, then this sine of 60 also has to be the square root of 3 over 2. So the square root of 3 over 2 has to be equal to 10 over C. And because I know the sine of 60, I can use that to solve for the side length C. So I'm going to multiply both sides by C. So I get C times the square root of 3 over 2 equals 10. And then I'm going to try to solve for C. Let's multiply both sides by 2. If I multiply by 2, that would cancel out that 2 in the denominator. So I'd have C times the square root of 3 equals 20. And then I could divide by the square root of 3. And then that would give me that C equals 20 divided by the square root of 3. All right, so I'm going to come up here and say C equals 20 divided by the square root of 3. All right, so I could use the Pythagorean theorem. Now that I know the hypotenuse is 20 over the square root of 3, and I know that the side B is 10, I could use A squared plus B squared equals C squared to solve for A, and I could do that. Or I could think about something else, like how about taking the tangent of 60? So over here, on my right triangle over on the right, my 30, 60, 90 that we derived in class, if I try to find the tangent of 60 degrees, tangent of 60 is opposite over adjacent, square root of 3 over 1, opposite over adjacent. So the tangent of 60 is the square root of 3. All right, so if I take that information over to my triangle on the left, in this triangle, the tangent of 60 opposite over adjacent is 10 over a. But because I know the tangent of 60 from my triangle in class is equal to the square root of 3, I know that square root of 3 has to be 10 over a. And now I can use that information to solve for a. So I'm going to multiply by a. So I have a times the square root of 3 equals 10. And then I'm going to divide both sides by the square root of 3. So a is equal to 10 over the square root of 3. And that's my third side length. Okay. So anytime you have a triangle with a 30, 60, a right triangle with 30, 60, or 45 degrees, that was the other one we did in class, you can use the fact that you already know sine, cosine, and tangent of 30, 45, and 60 degrees from those triangles in class to solve for unknown side lengths, right? And you could just take a minute to verify, by the way, if you just wanted to check your answer, we could do a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So I could do my a, I solved and got 10 over the square root of 3 plus b squared equals c squared. Right? If I did that, I would have 100 over 3, square the top and bottom, plus 100 squared, 10 squared is 100. 20 squared would be 400, and then square root of 3 squared is over 3. So I'm just checking to see if my numbers make sense. So I'm going to get a common denominator for that 100 just to double check. So right now 100 is over 1. So I'm going to multiply 100 times 3 over 3. So I get 300 over 3. And you see that that worked. 100 over 3 plus 300 over 3 equals 400. Okay, so that was just a way to check my answer. You don't have to do that part to be able to solve the problem. Okay, so that should help you with the rest of your homework, and I'll see you on Friday.